Well, let's talk about the political implications, because here's what Kellyanne Conway had to say on this subject this week. Take a look.
There was a quote today from a restaurateur in Wisconsin saying, "Are you protesters trying to get Donald Trump reelected?" He knows, full stop, and I guess Mayor Pete knows, full stop, that the more chaos and anarchy and vandalism and violence reigns, the better it is for the very clear choice on who's best on public safety and law and order.
The better it is, she said, the more violence in the streets, the clearer the choice for voters on the issue of law and order.
Yeah, well, I think it certainly paints a very clear picture. Look, what did we see after the convention wrapped the other night when people were leaving the White House, Chris? We saw that it was, this anarchist mob that was attacking Trump supporters, attacking Republicans, yet you didn't see that happening on the other side. There was an opportunity at the end of the Democrats convention where we could have had people attacking their folks, but that would never happen. It only goes one way. So if there's one person in that crowd that for a second thought, you know what, maybe I'm going to vote for Joe Biden, maybe I'm going to vote for the Democrats, I bet their mind was changed very quickly. The people that you see, by the way, getting accosted and harassed at restaurants around Washington, D.C., I understand that one of those women, was marching in the previous weeks with the BLM protest. I wonder what she wants to do now as she heads towards November 3rd. I think the point is that the more this happens to people and the more they see that this is a mob that in effect has been supported, and it really has monetarily been supported by bailing out, these violent criminals from folks in the Biden campaign, people wonder, why would I vote for this?
When Kellyanne Conway came on air last week and admitted that the more violence, the more chaos, the more vandalism, the better it is for the law and order candidate, who she's clearly suggesting is Donald Trump, she was widely criticized. Why? Because she gave away the campaign's entire game plan, that they want the violence to continue because the violence is better for Donald Trump. And if his campaign has shown us anything, it's that they will do anything to help Trump get reelected. And now, considering Trump's is the most ham-handed campaign in American history, even despite the fact that Kellyanne was criticized, here we have Lara Trump doing the exact same thing. This campaign is effectively demanding that we understand that they relish the violence because it benefits them politically. They are coming out on an almost daily basis and reminding us every single time that they are perfectly content to have the violence continue because they exploit it for their own benefit. And to make matters worse, this is violence that Trump himself helped create through his dog whistles, through his retweets that he pretends he didn't read, through his refusal to denounce his supporters who clamor for a fight. The violence that we're seeing isn't happening in a vacuum. It's being nurtured by Donald Trump. And so of course he's not going to do anything to stop it because he was the one giving permission for it to happen. Now, while Trump tries to pass himself off as the law and order candidate, the fact is that only one candidate has actually denounced the violence, and that's Joe Biden.
These guys are rooting for violence. That's what it's all about. To prove that you should be scared of Joe Biden, they're pointing to what's happening in Donald Trump's America. I made it clear from the beginning that there's no place for violence or looting or burning. And when I spoke with Jacob Blake's mother, Julia, you guys played her on the air. She's saying, that's not who we are. That's not who our family is. That's not who Jacob is. Don't do it. And so, he continues to root for violence. It's, the country will be substantially safer when he is no longer in office.
In other words, the supposed law and order candidate is the only one provoking the violence, and the supposed soft on crime Joe Biden is the only one denouncing it. But that won't stop the Trump campaign from trying to turn reality on its head because they traffic in gaslighting. As for Lara Trump, I do want to point out that she says that a mob was attacking Republicans after the RNC. What she's referring to is a group of protesters yelling at Senator Rand Paul and other guests. There was no attack unless she counts being screamed at as an attack. But I guess when the goal is to paint yourself as the victim, then everything is an attack, even if no one lays a finger on you. I should mention too that she tries to drive that point home by stating that no Republicans attacked Democrats after the DNC, and she's right, because the DNC was virtual. So I'm not sure where any protesters would have gone, but on the left, people actually took the virus seriously and opted not to hold a super spreader event because our nominee isn't a malignant narcissist who disregarded social distancing guidelines because having people clap for him is more important than keeping people safe. Bear in mind too, we shouldn't be surprised that Donald Trump and his surrogates are relishing violence. This is a president who has proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he will do anything to get reelected. He extorted a foreign country for dirt on Joe Biden and got himself impeached over it. He pretended coronavirus didn't exist because he wanted to protect the economy and not give the impression that anything was wrong. And then he continued to do nothing because any acknowledgement of the virus would lend credence to the idea that the virus is, in fact, serious. And now he's reveling in chaos in American cities because he wants to be able to use it in attack ads and on Fox News hits. Because there is nothing that Donald Trump isn't willing to sacrifice to help himself politically. While you're here, please subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I take a deeper dive into the week's biggest stories and interview major players in the world of politics, like Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, Nancy Pelosi, Cory Booker, Eric Swalwell, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.